Hi there, I'm Donna Grubbs, President of the Newport News Neighborhood Watch Coalition, and I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 National Night Out Newport News Virtual Edition. Though we may not be able to have large gatherings in our neighborhoods this year to celebrate community and our resolve to keep crime out of our neighborhoods, it hasn't stopped us from gathering virtually via Facebook Live. We're going to hear from leaders in our community and our police force about what's going on in our city and what we can do as citizens in the fight against crime. We have an hour packed with great information, and now I'd like to introduce Olivia Horvath with the Young Adult Police Commissioners. Olivia?
Good evening. My name is Olivia Horvath, and I am an 11th grade student and a young adult police commissioner. I bring you greetings from the Newport News' youth. Thank you very much for attending this year's virtual National Night Out. I hope that the information covered during tonight's virtual night out serves you well in your efforts to continue making Newport News a safe place. First, I would like to thank each of our neighborhood watch groups for the behind-the-scenes work you do to keep our community safe. The city is a much safer place because of caring and community-oriented people like you. The courage you display every time you pick up the phone and dial 911 to report suspicious activity extends you well outside of your neighborhoods. Your observations and willingness to report suspicious and criminal activity not only assist our police departments in fighting crime, it helps create a safer city for the youth like me to live, play, work, and attend school. Neighborhood watch members are indeed the police department's eyes and ears. For that, I am genuinely grateful. Again, thank you very much for all that you do, and thank you for your participation in this virtual night out.
Good evening. My name is Eric Randall, and I'm an Assistant Chief of Police here at Newport News Police Department. I'm welcome to be here tonight to talk to you about National Night Out. National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie to make our neighborhoods and communities safer and more caring places to live. National Night Out enhances the relationship between neighbors and law enforcement while focusing on a true sense of community. One of the things we've done here in this year in Newport News is we've had a remarkable relationship building and key stakeholder initiative here in the city. While other areas of the city, or areas of the country, have been experiencing a lot of different things due to COVID-19, it has been a very challenging year for us to make sure that we continue to serve the city in the capacity that we want to and need to. So first of all, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the citizens of Newport News. Thank you to the visitors of Newport News, and thank you to the businesses and business leaders in the city of Newport News. Tonight, I want to announce, with all the hard work for the team building and relationships and camaraderie that we've had this year, we're seeing almost a 14% overall reduction in crime in the city of Newport News. That is something that should be celebrated. And also, we have almost a 1% reduction in violent crime. Now, we have experienced an unprecedented year dealing with COVID-19. While other areas of the nation are experiencing drastic increases in crime and other things that are going on, uniquely here in Newport News, in the partnerships that we have built with our community and working together as a team, we are seeing historical reductions unlike any other time, especially with the challenging days that we have ahead. So some of the things that we've been working on in the police community and business relationship has been key to all the partnerships and the great successes that we have and continue to have this year, despite all the challenges that we've faced during the pandemic. So some of the principles that we've put forward that's key to the police and community relationship and building these things together is the 21st century policing model, first put forth by President Obama and the commission that he had formed. First of the pillars, the 6 pillars, is building trust and legitimacy. That is key to the partnership and understanding that the police and the community have in ongoing activities that we promote. Policy and oversight. We've done a number of things over the year to increase visibility and transparency in our policy and to include oversight as well. Technology and social media. This year has been a very, very unprecedented year, like I said before. So technology has become a key player in how we get our message out and how we communicate with the citizens and businesses alike. Community policing and crime reduction. One of our cornerstones of our mission is community policing. Most people don't know, but we are a key stakeholder in community policing. Newport News Police was one of the founders of community policing and problem-oriented policing in the 1980s. I think we should celebrate that as well here in the 21st century policing, that we are a model agency for the United States when it comes to community policing. Crime reduction. Crime reduction is really important because a safe community is a healthy community, is a thriving community when it comes to citizens moving in, citizens want to live, citizens want to work, citizens want to play, and citizens want to gather, and businesses as well because of crime reduction strategies. Training and education, also important as well when it comes to working with our community, making sure we have the appropriate trained and highly educated organization in this city and being the model agency for the country as a CALEA accredited Triarch agency. And then lastly, officer wellness, making sure we're taking care of our employees. Our employees are the greatest resource for each and every one of us and to the community as well. But making sure they're taken care of and living well so they can perform the jobs and keep the community safe and thriving as it is. So some of the things that we've done over the year, and everything we do is about community and about youth. So every component that we have, just like you've seen before me, was one of our young adult police commissioners that gave a welcome to this program tonight. Things that we partner with the community with are very important and critical in our efforts to continue to reduce crime and build the fabric of community policing that we have built over the years and woven over the years. Community walks, and that's what I talk about, community walks. It all entails working with the community. Care walks, we've done those over the last year. Community Youth and Outreach Division. We have a whole division that is focused and engaged on community and youth outreach. I think that is very important and it has been a cornerstone and a thriving strategy that has continued to work and enhance our ability to reduce crime in the city of Newport News. Adopting elementary schools. As another aspect of working with our youth in the community is making sure we get out and engage with the youth. I know it's been challenging right now during the COVID shutdown and schools are closed, but we've been using every opportunity to make sure we get out to do things with the schools by helping schools with packing lunches, helping the Boys and Girls Club with packing lunches, so we can still continue to engage with our community members and our youth. Facebook Live, events like this are key and important, and they show the department is very transparent and forward-leaning when it comes to being able to connect not only with the community here, but the virtual community as well, those that grew up and were raised in the city and still have that connection virtually. And shortly after me, you'll hear from one of our signature programs that we started earlier this year, our domestic violence campaign. This month will be a whole month that's dedicated to domestic violence awareness. And you'll hear from two of our most critical assets, Cheryl and Nisha, to talk about some of the wonderful things that we have done this year and all the wonderful programs we have scheduled for the month of October during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Also, it is crucial that we work with our faith leaders. Faith is very important in any community. And during these precious times that we're in, our faith leaders are driven upon a lot to make sure we can move forward. But it's important that we have that community partnership and bring all levels of the community together in all facets. Citizens United for Action is a citizen-led group that are working on different challenges in the city, and specifically one challenge is homelessness. They're driving the driving force behind it, coming up with strategies and programs to how to help the department, and not only that, but the city navigate through the homelessness project in the city. Citizens' participation is key to any organization. In this time of police reform and reimagining policing, I can assure you, your police agency, NNPD, is forward-leaning ahead of anything that's being talked about in reform. Citizens on promotion boards. Anytime there's a promotion in the department, we have a community leader or a citizen participate in selecting the next leadership of this agency. Because if we're going to challenge leaders to be charged with leading officers and citizens alike in this community, then we want to make sure the community has input on who we are selecting for the next leadership. Our Use of Force Review Board, as part of police reform, foremost ahead of any agency in the region, we have citizens that participate in that, have been doing that for almost over a year. But these are key signature programs here at Newport News Police Department that we want to make sure that we are continuing partnering with the community and making sure those connections and those collaborations are enhanced each and every day. It's critically important that we continue to work together. And like I said in the beginning, thank you. I cannot thank the community members, the neighborhood watches, the crime watch organizations, the business community, because each and every one of you are important to the mission that we all want to see. Make Newport News a place where people can live, work, and play, and continue to flourish and be the mecca of a city that it is here on the Virginia Peninsula. There are a lot of assets in this city. There are a lot of assets in this department, and your department supports each and every one of you, and we garner the support back. And I appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to participate and watch and share comments back and forth on this Facebook Live video when it relates to National Night Out, because this is an important night. And one challenge I have for you, this should be not just one night a year. Every night should be National Night Out. You should be looking out for each other. You should be looking out for your family. You should be looking out for your friends. You should be looking out for your neighbors, your community. Take charge. Be the good stewards of protecting your community. Observe and report. Making sure you're communicating with your neighbors. Making sure you're communicating with your local law enforcement agency. Getting to know the officers, the firefighters, and all the public officials that serve your community. Because the more you know, the better informed you are. A safe community is a healthy community and a flourishing community. Those are key important things you got to remember. So National Night Out is not just about one night. Let's take it to the next level here in Newport News. Let's make it every night. Let's watch out for each other, and let's make sure we're taking care of one another. And once again, I can't say it enough, thank you. So I have a question. What is your recommendation for holding meetings now? Also, will officers be able to be at those meetings? If we get information ahead of time, yes, we can have officers at those meetings. One of the platforms we've been using is the Zoom platform to hold meetings, to kind of limit the contact and not spread the potential COVID virus. But if you give us a heads up notice and contact our Community Youth Outreach Division, or you call the department at 928-4100, we'll make sure you get in point contact with the appropriate person from that particular area of the city. And also it depends on which area of the city you live in. We have 3 precincts, and we'll put you in contact with that particular precinct. So yes, you can hold meetings. We need to make sure we're practicing and understanding the governor guidelines when it comes to holding meetings. But we're slowly trying to roll things back out. And I know it's been challenging this year, but please work with us. We want to make sure everybody is safe, but we also still want to make sure we're connecting with the community. I got another question. It says, totally agree with that every day. All right. Thank you for all you do, sir. Thank you. And a lot of people probably think, why are you thinking it? You know what? We do not do this alone. You know, we do our job with the support and understanding and cooperation of the community. because we swear to an oath to uphold not only the Constitution of the United States, but the Constitution of Virginia. And we're given that charge and that power by the citizens of this great city. So we cannot be remiss if we don't say that. So thank you for working with us and giving us an opportunity to serve you. That's critically important. Well, if that's all the questions I have, we got a jam-packed program for you. Next up is some of the most amazing domestic violence advocates. I am honored to have them on our team here at Newport News Police Department, and you should be honored to have them in your community. These are amazing young ladies, and they come with a wealth of knowledge and experience, and they have a lot to share with you about what's going on this month and throughout the year for the programs that they have related to domestic violence. So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Nisha and Cheryl, our domestic violence awareness team. And I had to put a plug out. If you didn't come out last Thursday, we unveiled 3 new marked police units with our domestic violence striping. I saw some today riding down Jefferson Avenue, and they are looking awesome. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about restriping my vehicle with these purple stripes. So, so thank you, everybody, and I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl and Nisha.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone. We're so glad to be here for the National Night Out and talk to you, our most important stakeholders, our community members. It truly is a privilege to be here. I am Cheryl Chavers, Domestic Violence Specialist.
I am Nisha Himes, Domestic Violence Outreach Liaison.
And we want to share a little bit about our domestic violence program. We're so pleased for the leadership that we have here, the City of Newport News, and the leadership that we have here at the Newport News Police Department for having the vision, for seeing the importance of having this type of program in order to help save lives. And so what a privilege it is for us to be a part of this team. And we do want to give you just a little bit of an overview of the program within the short time frame that we have. But to tell you a little bit about myself, I have spent the majority of my career working for the City of Newport News, the great City of Newport News, and it has helped me to grow professionally. I've worked for the Newport News Department of Human Services for over almost 19 years, and in that capacity, I worked with children who had experienced significant abuse and neglect and worked with their families to ameliorate their situation, bring safety and stability and services to these families to help their situation. So it's a privilege to now come in this role and specifically concentrate in the area of domestic violence. Turn it over to Ms. Himes.
I am Nisha Himes again, and like Cheryl, just very excited to be here, a part of this team. I am very passionate about domestic violence. It has a very personal story within myself. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. So after surviving a very violent relationship, I was in that relationship for years, I began speaking out and did work within the Norfolk Commonwealth Attorney's Office as a domestic violence victim witness advocate, and with the Chesapeake Commonwealth Attorney's Office as a domestic violence paralegal. I have my own nonprofit organization assisting victims and survivors of domestic violence, and just happy to be here in this capacity working with Ms. Chavers and just the department here to bring awareness to domestic violence and help support those in the city who are experiencing this truly devastating epidemic.
And so we just want to give you a very brief overview of the domestic violence program. And our number one goal is to prevent domestic violence. Because of its tragic impact on our community, it affects all of us. There's not one of us who are not in some capacity impacted by domestic abuse. And so whatever we can do to prevent that, that's what we want to do. And being here in law enforcement as victim advocates, we have the opportunity to talk with victims day in and day out and just listen to them, provide them hope, and let them know that there is help for their situation. And most importantly, ensure to their safety and help them develop a plan that would help benefit them in the future. So that is one of the things that we do. And I wish we could elaborate a little bit more, but we work a lot with victims, and I'll turn it over to you.
We also work a lot with our officers here. One of the things that we do is train officers, if you can believe it. We give them tips on how to approach situations with a trauma-informed lens, how to have that empathy and that compassion that a lot of individuals and families who are being impacted by domestic violence need. Domestic violence is not a black and white issue. It has a lot of gray areas. It's not something that can just be fixed right in that particular moment. So our job is to help officers try to navigate through those a lot of times difficult situations to provide the best support to victims in that moment. We've had officers call us right on the scene and say, hey, what can I do to support her? What can I do to support him? And that's where we jump in, offer some assistance, and then continue with that support after the call for service has ended.
And one of our most important stakeholders are our community partners. As Chief Randall just mentioned, that we don't work in a silo. We don't do this by ourselves. So we have to partner and collaborate with those in the community in order to fight and advocate against domestic violence. And so our community partners are an integral part of that. So we work hand in hand with Transitions Family Violence Services. They provide phenomenal services and resources to those impacted by domestic violence. We also do work with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and do what I call a warm handoff. After a victim has experienced a crime, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office will be able to work with them through that process. And then there are other community-based partners who are also in this fight against domestic violence. And so we partner with them and collaborate and try to find strategies for bringing awareness to domestic abuse, because what we know is the more awareness there is, the more people are enlightened about this issue, and then we can do our best to diminish it within our community.
And to go along with what the lovely Cheryl Chambers just said, outreach is very important. It's integral. It is just something we have to make sure that we're spreading the word about domestic violence as much as possible. As I always say, awareness by any means necessary. So we speak a lot to the community. COVID has kind of put a damper on that. So we do a lot of virtual events, whether facilitating workshops or attending trainings ourselves. With this being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we have a lot planned for this month. We had a Light Up DV ceremony last week where we just shed light on domestic violence, honored those whose lives have been lost, and just encouraging the community to fight together to end this epidemic. We have an open mic coming up on Saturday at 6 p.m. at Downing Gross. So make sure you come there, sign a list, and get your poetry on, and just contact us just to learn more about how you can help bring awareness to and fight domestic violence. We need to bring awareness to domestic violence against men, against the underserved communities, against the LGBT community, the Hispanic community, those with limited English. You know what I mean? We just need to do as much as we can, whenever we can, however we can to what?
Yep, to address
To
domestic violence. And we also want to work with our faith-based community members as well, because what we know is oftentimes before they even get to law enforcement, they may have reached out, a victim may have reached out to their faith-based leader. And so we want to make sure that we're equipping our faith-based leaders with strategies and the support that is necessary so that they can provide that to those who come to them for refuge and for help. We also want to partner with our hospitals as well, because if victims don't come to law enforcement, maybe they might go to a hospital. And so we want to ensure that we are casting a wide net to all of our community partners, that we all have the tools and the equipment needed in order to address DV.
Right. And we have limited time here, so we just want to open up the floor for anyone who has any questions or comments. And just also wanted to point out that we will be back here on Facebook Live on Thursday at 12 noon, and you'll get a whole 30, 45, maybe an hour with us to ask any questions that you'd like. But just to address some comments, Miss Washington says, I have a lady you need to talk to. It does not only affect the female or male, it hurts the children. That is very true. We review reports every day, and we see that it's not only just affecting the one who has had the abuse done to them directly, but those who are witnessing it. Children who grow up in homes of domestic violence are indeed survivors as well and do need that support as well. So thank you, Ms. Washington, for your comment.
And I think the statistics are staggering. About 15 million children are impacted by domestic violence within our community. And so it impacts all of us. And we have to do whatever we can to help save our children. We want to make sure that they grow up in communities where they feel safe and they feel that they are stable and nurtured.
That their voice is heard.
That is true.
Any more comments? Let's see.
If there are additional comments, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I think we can give our contact information as well. We have an email address that just Ms. Himes and I answer, and it is nnpddbteam@nnva.gov. And we also have a message line, right?
Yes, and that number is 757-928-4646. We are the only ones who listen to those messages. So if you drop us a line, and then we'll give you a call back within the next business day. And follow us on Twitter, because we have like 52 followers right now, but we feel like we should have like 53, 54, and go on, so on and so on. So check us out on Twitter at NNPD DV Other than that, we just thank you guys so much for having us here for a few minutes. We hope to see you at our open mic on Saturday down in Groves at 6 p.m.
Yes, thank you all so much.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great day, and thank you for being part of tonight's virtual National Night Out. A little bit about me. I'm Detective Everett with the Newport News Police Department. I have been employed with the city for approximately 4 years. I'm assigned to North Precinct Investigations, where my duties include investigating robberies, burglaries, vehicle thefts, and vehicle tamperings. I'm here today to talk to you about two of these in particular. Vehicle thefts as a result of running cars, and thefts from vehicles as a result of doors being left unlocked. These are two of the most reoccurring but also preventable crimes that we as a community are facing. First, I'd like to say in cases of vehicle tampering and vehicle thefts, some people identify the problem as just criminals breaking into cars or just criminals stealing cars. But the problem has been identified as cars being left running or doors being left unlocked. This then creates the opportunity for criminals. The crime of opportunity theory suggests that offenders make rational choices. So thus choose the target that offers a reward with little effort or little risk. The occurrence depends on two things: a motivated offender, one, and the condition of the environment, two. So if you contribute to the crime, how will it be prevented, or how will we resolve it? Today, I'll talk to you briefly about statistics, what we as a department are doing and to prevent these crimes, and what you as a community can do to keep these numbers down and prevent yourself from being a victim of these crimes. So statistics. I had our crime analysts pull numbers from January 1st to September 28th of 2019 to compare them to January 1st to September 28th of 2020. So here are the numbers. In 2019, Newport News had approximately 300 tamperings, 680 thefts from vehicle. We had 268 vehicle thefts. In 2020, Newport News had approximately 162 tamperings. So we are down 138. We had 487 thefts from vehicles, so we are down 193. And we had 251 vehicle thefts, so we are down 17. Which means we are making improvements, but we want to keep improving and we want to keep reducing these numbers even more. We as a department have worked towards accomplishing this goal by increasing neighborhood patrols. You'll see officers conducting patrol checks. They'll be on foot patrol, even bike patrol in different areas of the community, different times of the day, different times of the night. Our officers have remained proactive throughout the community. The department has also conducted curfew ops to reduce delinquent activity in the overnight hours. Historically, juveniles have been found to be a high culprit for these type of crimes. However, adults have committed these crimes as well. We also have the Door Knocker campaign, where we target areas with high crime to address these issues personally with residents in the neighborhood. The door knockers are the educational pamphlets that you'll see hanging on your door every now and then, and we use those as just a reminder to lock your doors, remove your valuables from inside of your car. We're also active on the Nextdoor app to keep our community updated on what we are doing in the community. This is also a great resource for the community to share news and information regarding criminal activity or just concerns in your neighborhood. We also broadcast on social media. I know you've seen it. We have the 9 o'clock routine, and we use this just to help as a reminder. When you get in bed, look at Facebook. We want to remind you, hey, go make sure your doors are locked. So the department is doing a really great job. But here are some things you can do also to help keep these numbers down as well. So one of the best investments are security video cameras. If you are a victim of these crimes, or any crime at that, security video cameras are a powerful tool to use in identifying a suspect and can also contribute to a successful conviction in courts. Security alarms are also a great deterrent. Also, vehicle locator apps have worked as a great resource for stolen vehicles. As we mentioned earlier, in the crimes of opportunity theory, it suggests that environment plays a huge part. So making sure you have adequate lighting around your home, or if you're out shopping, don't leave your bags up front. Make sure you're parked in a well-lit area. For example, if your driveway is completely blacked out, or your neighbor has floodlights and their house is completely lit up, I would assume, based off of risk, a criminal will choose the darker area because it will conceal them and it's less of a risk. Okay. However, I know some of these options can be costly. So an alternative free option can be something just as simple as double checking your doors each night to make sure they're secured, and removing all your valuable items. I cannot stress it enough. Make sure you take your firearms inside. Make sure your spare key is not left in the car. And all your work gear, make sure you take that inside. And don't leave your car running. Even if it's just for a moment. I understand winter's coming along and it gets cold, you want to warm your car up, but don't give them the opportunity to commit these crimes. Okay? We continue to see a downward trend. We'll keep working towards this together. And just remember, our greatest resource is you. So call when you see crime occurring or just suspicious activity in the area. Take the necessary steps to reduce the crime. We're doing everything we can, and we're doing great. We just want to keep continuing to, improve, especially with the holiday season rolling around. We want to make sure that we continue to see a downward trend. And thank you for joining us tonight. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. All right, and if not, I'll pass it on to the next speaker.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan Teigens, and I am the captain of the Community and Youth Outreach Division. Just to give you a little history about me and my career, I've been a police officer here in the city of Newport News for 30 years. I joined in 1990 and been very blessed to work for an agency that really is proactive in fighting crime. And I really love this city, and I love my work, and I really love the people that I work with. So for me, it's not work, it's just a blessing. I want to tell you a little bit about the unit or the division that I work in. Our division is called the Community and Youth Outreach Division. It is comprised of a captain, a lieutenant, 2 sergeants that oversee the school resource officers, a sergeant that oversees the community resource officers and the community outreach liaisons. We have 3 community resource officers, 13 school resource officers who are assigned in the middle schools and the high schools, and a community coordinator, a community program coordinator, a community resources coordinator, 4 community outreach liaisons, and 2 administrative assistants. So we have a very, very large unit and a division. And the reason we have that large division is because we're committed to the community and the youth that we serve. We believe that getting in on the front end and building strong relationships with youth is important. It's important because it flourishes and creates bonds that you can't do any other way. That's the bottom line. Our chief believes in it. Our assistant chiefs believe in it. Our captains, all the way down to the brand new officer who's in the academy, and we make sure that we know that they know while they're in the academy what our feelings are and beliefs are on that particular topic and the youth. If you'll notice, just very quickly, I have a pink badge on. And you're probably going to ask me, well, why do you have on a pink badge? The reason I have on a pink badge is that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So Chief Drew authorized that we could wear these badges here for the month of October to honor those folks who have family members who unfortunately have been stricken with breast cancer. And of course, we honor those who have survived it. So God bless you all for that. And I know that's a battle that was a very tough one. So I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about our Citizens Police Academy. If you want to understand the inner workings of the police department, if you want to understand the best way to protect yourself as a citizen as it relates to some of the topics that Detective Everett spoke about, and quite frankly, if you just really want to know and have a clear understanding of what we do, the Citizen Police Academy is for you. We have an incredible police coordinator, a community programs coordinator by the name of Monica White, and she oversees the program, and it has always been a success. I can't tell you how many classes we've graduated of citizens. When they finish that academy, they're so much more well-informed about our police department, and it really, quite frankly, it forges relationships that otherwise we wouldn't have forged. And we have met some incredible people who later on have gone to become volunteers and have been here for years, quite frankly, and just are so dedicated to their community. I could name a few names, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to forget anyone. It wouldn't be the right thing to do. So I want to tell you a little bit about that. If you're interested in that, please call 928-4100 and ask to be connected with the Community and Youth Outreach Division, and we'll be more than happy to send you an application that you can fill out from the comfort of your home and send in via fax. I'm kind of dating myself, I said fax. Sorry, I meant email. Send it in via email, and we'll look at that and we'll get you squared away. We will open it up sometime down the road. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has reared its ugly head, and it has really caused us to do things differently. We're very much into the virtual meetings now, and we actually did a while back a virtual academy, which was very successful. So you might see something popping up. Just a hint there, okay? But if you have any questions, I would love to take those questions now. Do we have any questions maybe? Let me put on my reading spectacles because I won't see a doggone thing here. Okay, God bless each and every one of you. You truly have an awesome police department. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Monica White, way to go. Thanks for all you do. She's an amazing young lady. Yes, no doubt. And you are so faithful in helping me at the C. Waldo Scott Center, and Monica White is awesome. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. So if you don't have any questions, I would like to also extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone out there who does what they can to help make this city a safer place. And keep in mind that anything you do to contribute to the safety of this city is important. If you think it's something small, it's not small, because all those smalls add up, and it really truly makes a difference. So on behalf of Chief Drew and the men and women, sworn and non-sworn, of the Newport News Police Department, thank you so much for everything you do, and God bless you.
Okay, I just want to thank all of our presenters this evening, and thank you to you, our neighbors, for standing with our police department in the fight against crime and for attending this virtual National Night Out. If you're interested in starting a neighborhood watch, please reach out to me. My email was posted earlier in the comment section. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have, and a neighborhood watch is a wonderful way to bring a neighborhood together. I want to give you a challenge tonight. For those of you watching and those of you that will watch later, please reach out to your neighbors from a safe social distance. Check on your elderly neighbors, especially those that might need a little extra helping hand, or some that may feel isolated. Who knows? You may even save a life in doing so. So I encourage you and challenge you to reach out to your neighbors. Also, reach out to the young people in your community. Many of them need a mentor. If there's an opportunity to mentor a young person in your neighborhood, please take that opportunity. Just saying a kind, encouraging word may be a huge difference to a young person that's in your community. I'd also ask you, if you see something, say something. Our Newport News Police Department stands ready to engage with you in the fight against crime in your communities, but they can't do it without your help. They need people in the communities to let them know what's going on. So if you see something, please say something. So now, on behalf of the Newport News Neighborhood Watch Coalition and the Newport News Police Department, I bid you good night and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.